Hi, Nick Dogle, North State Law. We safeguard your professional license so you can get back to business. Today's question is, what is the North Carolina Controlled Substances Reporting System? So before we get into the short answer to that question, we're obviously going to get into a little bit of the background of some of the requirements by different licensed professionals per a couple different statutes. So the first one that we have is 90 113.74A, and that is a big A. It's not a subsection. Again, it's 90 113.74A, and that talks about those with prescribing authority for controlled substances. And the requirement there is if you are a provider, and let's just say you're an MD, you're a PA, you're a nurse practitioner, you're even a doctor of osteopathic medicine, whatever the case may be. I think I'm leaving a couple people out, and I apologize, that might have prescribing authority in North Carolina. But those with prescribing authority in North Carolina for controlled substances, once you get that prescribing authority for controlled substances as a provider, you have to register with the North Carolina Controlled Substances Reporting System within 30 days. Okay. Again, if you have prescribing authority, easy for me to say, of controlled substances, you have 30 days from when you get that prescribing authority to register with the North Carolina Controlled Substances Reporting System. There's a lot of information online. I dropped some links in the description below, so make sure to check those out. The other statute, the second one that we've got that's relevant here, is North Carolina General Statute 90 113.74B. So again, that's North Carolina General Statute 90 113.74B. Again, not a subsection. This is the same type of thing, but this refers to pharmacists and pharmacies that have dispensing authority. So if you're a licensed pharmacist, obviously you have dispensing authority, and if you are dispensing controlled substances and you have authority to dispense controlled substances, then within 30 days of getting that authority to dispense controlled substances, you need to register with the North Carolina Controlled Substances Reporting System within 30 days. Again, 90 113.74B is the pharmacist. Is for those with the dispensing authority for controlled substances. 90 113.74A is for those with prescribing authority for controlled substances within North Carolina. So the reason for this, and again, I've got a link. This is actually from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. The reason for this is so those with prescribing authority can see, well, what other medication is this patient on? And then those with dispensing authority can see, all right, well, this person's on XYZ drug. It's going to have a negative interaction with this other drug that, I might be, asked to fill. I need to check with the provider and see if there was some sort of mistake or if they missed it on the controlled substances reporting system, things like that. It is one, to make sure that, there isn't a negative drug interaction happening with the controlled substances. And the other one is if a provider or a dispenser feels like the individual might be having a bit of a substance abuse issue with these controlled substances, then they can kind of raise the alarm, so to speak. And, this is a little bit off topic, but still related. Going back to early 2010s, late 2000s, there was a lot of pain clinics that had popped up in different areas of the country. And one of those, there was a documentary on this a couple years ago. There was pain clinics in Florida that popped up. And one of the reasons that this was able to happen is there was no opt-in by Florida of a version of a controlled substances reporting system. Now, that would have been a little bit different. It would have been kind of like opt-in nationally, so everybody else can see like what medication somebody would be getting if they're getting a controlled substance. And in the particular one I'm talking about, it was American Pain was a documentary. So if you haven't seen that, it's a really good documentary. Check it out. But it shows the importance of having these reporting systems. And the biggest thing with that particular documentary was, since Florida didn't opt into any sort of national controlled substances reporting system, so everybody can see like whatever pain medication somebody's on, it lended itself to people driving down from Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, loading up on a bunch of opioids and opiates and taking them back to, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, places like that, and selling them and causing a huge epidemic. And what I'm talking about with this North Carolina controlled substances reporting system, the purpose of it's a little bit different, obviously, right? Because we're trying to make sure that there's no negative drug interactions. Like if somebody's on controlled substance A and then a different provider doesn't see what they're on and they do controlled substance B and there's a bad interaction between them, the pharmacist who's dispensing can catch that. They go, all right, I looked this up. There's a bad drug interaction. I'm going to call up, the PA or the MD or whomever that did that and check and make sure if there was a mistake. That's great. Another thing, as I mentioned, it's on DHHS's website, is it talks about if there is a belief by a provider or a dispensing authority that the individual might have a substance abuse issue, because they look in there and say, oh man, this guy's got, this opioid, and it's been, years and years, and it just keeps going up, in quantity or dosage, or whatever, then they can kind of, maybe call call whomever and get that person some help. Obviously, you got to be HIPAA compliant. You don't want to violate that or anything along those lines. Or maybe you could speak with the person directly and try to get them some help. So there is that aspect to it. And that's clearly laid out as one of the reasons on North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services website. Obviously, you check that out. I'll put that link in the description as well. So if you are either somebody with prescribing authority for controlled substances, as soon as you get that prescribing authority, you need to register within 30 days of getting that with the North Carolina Controlled Substances Reporting System. If you have dispensing authority, basically if you're a pharmacist and you have dispensing authority for controlled substances, again, you need to register with the North Carolina Controlled Substances Reporting System within 30 days of getting that authority. So I hope that was useful information. If you got any follow-up questions, check out the other videos on my YouTube channel, North State Law YouTube channel, or the blogs on my website, northstatelawfirm.com. I hope everybody has a fantastic day and keep taking care of North Carolina. Bye-bye.